Okay, we've been incoming for an hour. Can
So
we
let's
finally?
live coming to
I
you
would like to. I
from.
would like to just come at this point. Thank you. All right, we don't have time for any of this. We wasted way too much time with bullshit setup. Look what I'm drinking. It's beer. Hey, Modelo. I like Modelo. I'm drinking Modelo. Jerry, what are you drinking? No time. Kevin, what are you drinking? There's no time. Moving on to topic number one. Go, 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 go. I love cocaine.
Wait, what?
So this is what I watched this week. This week I watched Secret Invasion. I watched Secret Invasion. I watched something else.
There we go. And final thoughts. Let's go.
Uh, don't hold in
I
farts. Let
love
them
you
go. Let them be free.
guys.
And also cocaine. All right.
Wow, that was the
Good
fastest
times.
episode.
Second best
A new
episode
record.
ever. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot to ask Kevin how he was doing. Damn it. All right. Redo the whole thing from scratch.
Oh boy.
All right.
But wait, there's more.
Speaking of booze, I need some more.
Oh, see, yeah, I'm like running out at this point, but my booze supply is too far away, so I'm like trying to milk this beer for all that it's worth. Mm.
Dude, we only had like an hour and a half there before the stream officially started, where you could have hobbled to get
I
more
had I had this
beer.
ongoing hope that we would actually start the podcast.
You
So I would
didn't
always
join
start the
us
show. So I
until
was
nine
like,
o'clock anyway.
no, I
Yeah.
was no, I was actually this is one of the rare times I was actually on time. So there you go. We
On
started putting
time.
the kid we started to put the kid to bed earlier, so
Hmm,
it's working it's working out pretty well.
okay.
Nice.
Uh, but
Told you
yeah,
those like beanbag socks work well, don't they?
if you stuff them full of oranges and get a good swing going, no bruises whatsoever. Speaking of which, Kevin, can you kill this stream so I can delete this one as well?
Oh, did it happen again? Seriously?
No, no, no. We
No,
were just joking. We were talking about knocking kids out.
because of
Oh,
the child.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah. Woo.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, um,
Oh, you
so
said you were sober.
yeah, well, so Jerry, what are you drinking?
So, last weekend, some friends stopped by, and one of them brought me this Polish vodka, and it's super tasty. I'd read it to you, the name of it, but there's like letters that I don't know how to pronounce. So I'll just
Okay.
read what it says on the side. It says, a fine blend containing vodka, bitter orange, spices, and a twist of caramel. And it's
Oh,
tasty. It's
sounds pretty good.
super, yeah, it's really good. Super smooth. It tastes, it has like a little bit of like fireballness, like some of the similar spices and stuff. So it's very
Oh,
tasty. It's good for sipping.
very nice. Kevin, what flavor coffee are you drinking tonight? Oh my God,
Vanilla.
I was being sarcastic. Are you drinking coffee again, really?
Actually,
He's
I
got
stopped
like
around 6 o'clock.
Uh,
something Kush coffee, or I'm sure.
Yeah.
yeah, no, nice.
I think it was
Okay,
strawberry diesel.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
that's an interesting name for a coffee. Okay, all right. Anyway, okay. Well, Jerry, you were screaming something about Secret Invasion. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that you watched Secret Invasion. I watched Secret Invasion. One of us probably has not watched Secret Invasion.
It's true.
Who could it be?
I don't know. That Kevin guy or
Kevin,
something.
Kevin, did you
Maybe it
watch
was
Secret
the
Invasion?
other version of Kevin.
Hmm. So let me ask you this. So you actually have not seen it, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Can I just spoil it for you because I can legitimately tell you you can safely skip this series. I don't think I'm alone in saying this.
I'm I have
It
to
was
actually
so
say
bad.
go for it because I have like almost zero motivation to see it.
It
Like
is
I think I
so
would
bad.
rather try to catch up on Peripheral than Watch
my
it.
god, you still have watched that fucking thing up on peripheral. Dude,
Well,
I'm sure
I
they're
couldn't pass up
even
the
with the
opportunity.
strike, they're almost done with season 2, I'm sure.
I love how you were always so surprised by this, Jerry. Every week you're just like, I
Yeah.
can't believe you haven't seen this show you've never watched. No
And
matter how
Dark.
many times I've read. Well,
And
Dark,
The
like I
Last
said,
of
yeah,
Us.
I've, see, Last of Us was actually a really great show that you
Yeah,
should
I
have
know.
seen. Secret Invasion, oof. See, the biggest problem with Secret Invasion, besides some of the stuff that they retconned terribly, was it completely ruined the character of Nick Fury. Because he's sort of like this. Actually, it ruined like every version of him. Like right now you have like the old sort of like old and tired Nick Fury. It made him kind of lame because it looks like he's lost everything that made him Nick Fury. Like he's not really on top of things anymore. He's people are getting to jump on him. He's not always like in the know. Um, you know what I mean? Like he's not like the super secret spy that he used to be. So they kind of said that so the whole show starts off by them saying like he's sort of like a bit of a has-been, but then they explain how he even became the kind of spy that he was, and they completely ruined that as well. He's basically a fraud. They just completely just destroyed the Nick Fury character throughout this entire show. I don't understand what the point of
Well,
this was at all.
I agree that the show wasn't the best. I'll leave it at that. I'll be nice. Um,
You don't have
but
to be. This is a
the
safe place. You
whole,
can be
yeah, no. The whole, like, I'm tired and weak and everything was a front by him. It was to, he was like, I'm being smart and keeping or writer guy wrote it as I'm being smart. I'm keeping, like, my enemies confused, thinking I'm not 3 steps ahead of them, yet I am.
But he wasn't. He was never ahead of anybody. Everybody got the jump on him, and the only time when he supposedly wanted that to happen is when he got in like episode 1, I think, when he got kidnapped by what's her name? The what was
Yeah.
the name of the woman?
I don't remember
Uh,
her name, but
Francesca,
the English.
whatever. That like
yeah, by the way,
special.
who's like who by the way is way more badass than him in
Yeah,
this whole show.
she
And
was
yeah,
the
and
best character in that show.
yeah, she was. And he was like, "Oh, I always meant to be captured." And okay, fine, fair enough. But then every single time they get the better of him when
It's
they
like, oh,
kill a partner, a certain person in the show. That wasn't planned. Actually, nothing else that happened going forward was planned. He didn't know about Rhodey. He didn't know any of that shit. He
yeah,
didn't
that's
know.
true.
He didn't know that they were that all the scrolls were on Earth. Remember when the guy told him how many scrolls there are? He was like, "What? What?" Like he didn't know shit.
I meant to crap my pants.
Right. And here's the
Yeah, I
thing.
don't know.
And the way I'm telling you I'm saying why they destroy the character is because they pretty much said that the only reason that he was able to do the things that he used to do was because of the scrolls, because he used to employ them and they were his spies, they were shapeshifter spies. So he wasn't like some genius. In fact, it even says that he was pretty much like a desk jockey, like a pretty much a nobody until he accidentally ran into a chance encounter with these scrolls, and then he pretty much used them because of their shapeshifting abilities to spy on people, and that was his thing. That's it. That was his whole thing. Like he just used them, and yeah, he wasn't really like smart. He wasn't like thinking ahead of everybody else. He just had these shapeshifting spies
Well, where's the
everywhere. That's it.
timing in like Captain Marvel was current, but well, Captain Marvel showed what, the 60s version?
No, it wasn't
Yeah,
60.
that's when the
70s or
scrolls
seven.
came. So he
Yeah, it was like,
Right.
was,
and he was a nobody in that show. He was just like he was basically just an agent of Shield.
but not
Right,
in
and
Captain Marvel, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he
Was
was.
he?
Yeah, he was a
Really?
yeah,
nobody. Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean, kind of.
he wasn't like look, it's not like he wasn't working in the mailroom or anything like that, but he
No,
was just a regular
He
agent.
was
He was
just a
nothing
field
special.
agent, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he became like the Nick Fury that is, the super spy way later. And this show is just like, oh yeah, it's because these aliens did all the hard work for him.
I mean, if you
They
did
they
you
they
watch
just they
Agents
did.
of Shield?
I got up to season 4. Yeah, 4.
Ditto.
But the idea that I'm getting at is there's that whole structure that they imply, and I know that's not exactly canon, but like Shield is, one of those ranked type of things. So he's just the lower rank, he's not like at the top
Right.
Yeah, but
or whatever.
what's his face from Shield and that was in
Coulson.
the yeah, Coulson.
Coulson.
He was a field agent, wasn't he?
At first he was, yeah, and they
Yeah.
had different paths. I mean, in the Avengers movie, Coulson worked for Nick Fury, and then
Right.
he had that weird thing where he sort of died, but not really, and Loki killed him. And then he ran the other division of Shield, and the whole thing with Hydra happened, and blah blah blah. But again, like Coulson never had like weird secret alien shapeshifting spies. He did it all by himself. Nick Fury just basically had like what do you call it?
Dumb luck.
No, he had like the cheat code basically.
He,
Right,
he
yeah.
had
Yeah,
good friends. I mean, that's a
yeah.
superpower is to like be
Well,
friends with the whole shapeshifting race that
yeah,
you could
but if
deploy.
you're
I mean, come on,
but
I
that's
mean,
like
it's a little
saying okay,
cheesy.
but that's like saying like if you take like a superhero in these comic books and say, well, Superman is just like any other person. Just because he can fly and is bulletproof and has laser vision doesn't mean he has any advantage over a regular guy walking down the street. Come on.
Bulletproof. Being bulletproof is overrated.
Yeah. Anyway. Uh,
Yeah, I wasn't. Some of the stuff is like it's. I feel that I'm so um invested in the MCU that I have to watch this stuff like
Yeah.
at least once or like real quick just to know what's going on. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's plenty of other stupid shit that I'd just be watching or whatnot. But yeah, I feel like they're starting to dilute their own content or try to put so much shit out. It's like let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
oh, totally. Yeah, I mean,
It's absolutely that. Although I
yeah.
guess some shit just got pruned off the list. I forgot exactly. They've been like messing
Oh,
with stuff
did
as the
it?
years go by. Delays
Oh,
and whatever.
because of the writer strikes, there's going to be a bunch of different delays with everything like that. But what's his name is
Well,
still on track.
some of their movies
Loki.
they hire like in other countries that aren't part of it.
Well, yeah, I also told you that what Marvel and Disney are doing is they're basically having AI write scripts for a bunch of movies and shows, so that when the writers do come back from the strike, they'll just have to do like some editing and punch-up work on these scripts. So that's how they're trying to like save time on these projects.
Isn't that the whole point of like the strike?
I mean, that's one of them. Yeah, they're not helping things.
Let's
I
do
mean,
the exact thing that all the writers are striking about.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, didn't help that they made the introduction to Secret Invasion using AI art. That didn't go
Right.
over well at all. So,
wow.
no.
I mean, look, it exists now, so there's gonna end up being cries and pain, and then we're gonna regulate and like cut back and give it'll have new things to support writers
Oh,
and
it's
all
gonna
the
be years.
creatives.
It's gonna be years before this is resolved, both from a legal,
Yeah,
ethical, and uh, employment
it's
angles,
gonna
basically, right?
but right, and what I'm getting at is it's gonna be virtually impossible to like totally negate it. It's gonna be like when music used to get pirated and like everything happened, and then streams came along and it totally changed the business model and like who's I mean, I guess there's people still trying to download MP3s, but you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, but try to explain that to an artist who's trying to make a living that, oh, don't worry, it'll get sorted.
no, I
It's
get all
like,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I understand. I mean, they're going to get pinched. They're going to fight back and they're going to have to compromise at some point. And it's like I'm not nothing I'm saying is like advocating for it. It's all about um, it's
I
going to be a
keep
shitty
yeah.
roller coaster of figuring out where they can land now. You know.
I keep going like having these debates with my wife and some other uh, like designers and artists that I talk about, and it's one of those things that like yeah, it hasn't settled. Like I'm trying to kind of see both points. Like I do feel for artists who are being hurt by this. I totally get it, but it's there is at some point I could do the devil's advocate argument of saying like this is another tool. Photoshop at some point, Illustrator were seen as these horrible industry destroying things that when they came about and people learn how to use them and actually, grow their businesses and create all new um how to be they learn how to be more efficient. They created all new kinds of art using these tools. AI technically should be yet another tool. It's not yet, and the way these models are the way they're training the AI is obviously pretty unethical, but uh, that's why I said it's going to take years for this to settle in. But right now, like, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah, I
The
have like two. Oh, go on.
All I was gonna point out is they're just training them on publicly available shit. And then what happens is everyone's like, "Oh, you mean there are corners of the internet that have my stuff and I never knew about it?" So then like
Well,
they gleam it
it's
because
not,
they have everything.
well, it's not just corners. I mean, artists have been putting their artwork online for years, and now they're saying, I mean, they're literally finding. It's not even so much that these models are learning off there; they are ripping off. Like people have found like little snippets of like an artist's signature accidentally makes its way to a generated
Yeah,
piece of art. Like these
totally.
things are stealing art, and
Yeah.
it's artists that haven't volunteered. Even in some cases, you could say so. Adobe, for example, the way their AI works is they said to avoid issues with copyright, they train their AI based only on Adobe stock images, right? So the images that Adobe has rights to, like they're not just scouring the internet for random artists and photographers and everything like that. It's just the stuff that they supposedly own. But and that's so far kind of the best solution. However, you could
What
make
happens when those rights expire?
well, there's also the fact that you could say, well, the people that originally like contributed to Adobe stock, they just signed a contract saying, yeah, you can use my images for whatever, never imagining that their work would be used to train these AI engines. So I'm sure a lot of them are like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. I wanted someone to be able to take my photograph of a kitty or this drawing of a kitty I did and use it in like some, advertising thing. I didn't want them all of a sudden to type in the word kitty and get 40 versions of the same kind of drawing that I made without me ever getting paid for, like royalties for it ever again. So
Theoretically,
there's a problem with that as
the
Yeah,
well.
only thing an artist can do is to like sell to the AI, let's say. So like whenever an AI is turned on to train, it's like you studying a picture that you bought and then like ooh and the brushstrokes and the blah blah blah, and then if you were to do your own art using the style thought, right, then
So
you
that's one of
generate
the
your own thing or whatever. But all I'm saying
that's
is
one of
isn't
the
it fair that they pay for it,
that's
like
right, but
actually the artist gets paid?
they won't, and that's one of the biggest debate points is that people are saying, well, hold on a second. Like when you go to art school, they teach you to copy the masters. Like what I can. So if you're, let's say, taught to paint like Van Gogh and you can reproduce Van Gogh paintings, it's not illegal for you to do so. You can go do that
right.
to your heart's content.
Right.
But that, but again, the thing is, that's a human being learning a skill. Not to mention using art that's technically in that could
Public
possibly be
domain.
in public domain, whereas this AI and uh, where versus an AI engine, which is learning from every artist ever, even those who are not in public domain and who are not interested in being copied, and reproducing this in mass, and no one is getting paid for it except for the people who own this engine. That's the problem. They're the only ones who are actually benefiting from it. Well, okay, I mean, technically you could say the people
You're
who are using
you're
their
talking
artwork,
about they're
but
getting paid by people who subscribe to the service of using the AI, and then because
yes,
through that payment to them, they get access to it. Um,
right.
there's definitely got to be a way to pay the artist compensation. What's fair, I don't know. Like, skip that part of the the dimension of this conversation, but like artists should get paid. The AI should have a huge benefit that no one, like, you can't deny the benefits that it provides. And being able to go to Mid Journey and say, give me a picture of, a baby demon in the style of somebody, it can do a good approximation. You can, and then you're, you know, tweaking it here and there with updated prompts and blah blah blah, and you get like your version of what you had and your own creative imagination of her. So like, it's a tool, and the person who's doing a thing isn't just saying rip off this artist. It's usually a modified version. So it's like royalties should be paid, but it also is
Right.
a legitimate type of situation that just needs a little bit of consideration so that it isn't flat out totally yanking a picture verbatim
Right, but that's not
versus.
happening right now because of so much money being made. These companies aren't even like they're not even addressing it. Midjourney's been accused and they've been sued of basically stealing people's artwork, and they're not doing anything about it. They're not even like getting into the conversation. They're like, okay, yeah, cool. Anyway, here's a new version of Midjourney. It can do realistic hands now. Like they don't care. They're making so much money. They do not give a fuck. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
going to run
mean,
rampant for a while, and before we can figure out like the cool balance. I
well, it's
like I
gonna
have
get
no
it's gonna
idea
get
what to suggest as a cool balance, by the way.
Well, I mean, some ideas were, and these are flawed as well, is kind of like do Adobe's thing. Like Midjourney could say, okay, we're only going to train our models on artists who come to us and say, here's my library of work. You're allowed to scan this and train your machine off of my library of work, and in return, you compensate me. Or let's say you say every time somebody types in the style of mine, like in the style of me using my name, I get royalties or something like that. Like there are ways it could be done,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then,
they
but
could,
then,
yeah, put
but then
those
you can
threads
sort
in it.
of game it again. Let's say somebody comes in and says, like you have artists that can copy styles. Let's say again, like somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I can pretty much completely mimic Van Gogh. Here's a bunch of Van Gogh-like paintings. You have at them, and then you can type in whatever the fuck you want and get a painting like Van Gogh without the real artist ever getting royalties."
But
Like
I
there's ways to game these systems all the time.
the thing about it, like what I started to say though, is like, let's say that you treat the AI not like a person, but like a it's a thing that needs to get trained. Like we call it training. So in order to train off of a particular art, you have to buy a copy of all of it. Like
Okay.
when if you're gonna say like, you name an artist, right? And then you're gonna
Bob
study it
Ross.
as a normal person. Yeah, like let's say you go to art school and you're gonna do a Bob Ross, special class, and it's like he did a lot of these, and notice how he did it, and you study him, right? So essentially, you have all, however many portrait or paintings he did, you buy a copy of them all, and it's a charge that goes into I've studied this. So in other words, the AI company, pays 5 grand to collectively study like one particular artist. I'm just saying, like, I'm proposing a potential thing, and where the threshold is that equals fair by all parties is somewhere. But like, I think that's a mechanism that could work. It's like,
It
this is
can,
an
but that
artist.
but if
Yeah,
you're
but
go ahead.
that no, that's hard because like, what if one artist is you have Bob Ross who's like, oh, I get 5 grand for my catalog, and then you have someone who's like Van Gogh, and he's like, dude, I'm worth more than 5 grand. I want 500,000 for my catalog, and all that other stuff.
Well, then the AI chooses which one it's going to train off of.
Well, I can also say right now, no artist would ever agree to this. An artist would never be like, "Sure, I'll sell you a painting for $500, and then you can use it to train an engine that'll churn out a million paintings in my style." That's no artist would ever agree to that, nor should they.
Okay, so I'll become a master artist and I'll study paintings for free, or if I need to get an image, I buy it, and then I'll churn it out. Like we're just pissed off because the AI can do it like quicker.
It can, yeah, I mean, it can do it a lot quick. There's a lot of problems. Yes, it can do it a lot quicker, and but that's not even, again, that's not even like the root of the problem. The problem is just that it can. The biggest
It's
problem they have
such a
right now
it's
is
so
that
I'm not
gray.
asking
It's
for
so
the
gray.
actual answer because
it is.
like I'm
It,
posing the hard
right, it's
questions is
hard.
what I'm trying to do.
Like I'm struggling to answer it because
Yeah.
it is, yes, they're so complex. Not to mention the fact that different artists disagree about it. Like some artists are saying like, yeah, pay me royalties and you can use my art. Other artists are like, no, I don't want to be part of this. Like, take my name off your list. Like, remove me from your engine. And again, the companies are just like, lol, no. Um, there's they feel, a lot of artists are just feel like they're basically being laughed at. Like, they spent their entire lives, developing the skill, learning this craft, and within, you know, a very short amount of time, someone can just type in their name into the search engine
Who
and
needs
just
to
get
buy
all
a
like
unique piece of their art when they can say, give me this general idea in that style, and like
right,
boom, now they have
Yeah.
something that
right,
they um love because it's the style of, but they didn't have to pay for it. I get that
right,
part.
Yes,
right.
but that's the general. I could see that as being a general public kind of thing. But I mean, who knows? I'm playing devil's advocate here. That might make actual human generated art even more valuable. Like, what if now that's the uh that's the, oh, this is a real
Because it's
human,
rarity. Yeah, like
right,
yeah.
like it's kind of like, I
Yeah,
mean,
well, yes,
we were
but
laughing.
hold on, but you have to take into account that that's going to be such a weird, small niche thing. I mean, that is going to eliminate so many artists. There's only going to be a handful that are so well known and then have a chance to break out into this um, field where their hand created art is worth anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna, a lot of
Yeah.
artists are gonna just be fired. And look at stuff like animated movies. Look at Disney, cartoons and whatever, uh, kids shows, everything like that. I mean, those are all artists that are can very easily be replaced, technically speaking,
No
by
one,
by
no
the
one can replace Miss Rachel.
Miss
So
Rachel. Miss Rachel's not a
don't
cartoon.
even go there.
Miss Rachel's not a cartoon. And by the way, when I said that they can all be replaced, that wasn't me saying like what they do is easy and the machines can technically take their jobs. They
No.
can't yet. What I'm saying is that's like the direction that it's heading, where at some point,
Hmm.
and that's the thing, animators and artists have already lost their jobs. Like, and maybe not some of the key animators and artists, but some of the quote unquote peripheral artists have been let go because they can do what they can easily make those assets by themselves. Video games did it. They what was it? I think I'm not sure. I think it might have been a Resident Evil game where when you walk through like one of the castles, there's a bunch of like paintings hanging on the, like it's a mansion or
Hmm.
a castle, and there's a bunch of like paintings all over, like adorning all the walls of this place. And they found out that Capcom just used one of these generative engines and just said like, create paintings in the style of a Renaissance painter, and just created those things and plastered them all over their game. That's usually something that used to be artwork that artists used to make. So there you go. They just
No, it's definitely interesting because now that opens up this um, asset, this I don't know the right word that I'm looking for, but previously, so like this weekend I was watching a review on a board game, and they were talking about the how great the artwork looked for so many cards, and it was all like abstract art and everything, and um it was all the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, this is like AI generated, or hey, now with like any schmuck that wants to create a board game can do a good job on art with like a subscription to Midjourney or something like that, and now that makes stuff a lot more accessible. Like I would personally might have a concept for a board game, but I would never be able to generate art for it. And luckily, I know some people that probably could. I mean, no one on this podcast, but
No, 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 no.
I could find some people, and
Sure.
but now,
I know how to use
when
Midjourney.
I could go to
You can ask
Midjourney
me.
and be like, I want, like this picture or this picture and tweak it and everything. It That makes it so much easier for someone that doesn't have that skill or can't afford to go out and get someone with that skill. It gives them that opportunity. So
But
it's
you
Well,
know
no,
it's
what's
it's perfect.
happening
interesting.
though is there's a shift, right? People have to sort of step back a second because and I don't mean this in like a negative or mean sort of way, but like what's happening is the
Oh, it's gonna be
artists
good.
are more about style that is unique and creative. The fact that, like, let's say I become a famous artist and I'm like known for like what realistic paintings, that would be like, holy shit, this person actually painted an apple on a table and it looks like a freaking photograph. There's that kind of thing. Then there's like Renaissance or blah 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 blah. But when you go through all that stuff, even if I say Renaissance, it's like these artists of that time, and each one has a style that's very noticeable, and we could pick it out, and all of them could be painting humans or like population, or you know what I mean? Like, so there's like an object in the real world that you like. In other words, what if you sent photographers all over an AI company says, well, fuck these artists. We're going to hire photographers and they're going to just take like a huge representative of photographs and like, or even artists, but they're on their staff, right? They own the rights implicitly. But what I'm getting at is most of our art is about real objects painted into form with an expression, like with meaning behind it. So the meaning becomes the thing. But what about the painting is meaning? It's like the artist's choice of the collection of objects that they're actually, inking and putting shape to on a 2D canvas. So what I'm getting at is like all these different paintings. I mean, you even have weird abstract stuff like the white painting with different texture, and you're supposed to like read into that one. It's like, you know, essentially you could have an algorithm say take an apple and like it has photographs of real apples as its representative, not like
Oh,
artist
fuck
created
Apple.
stuff. Or trees, and it's got a library built on a huge spectrum of the different trees on the planet, right? And you say, give me um, this kind of tree in a desert setting, and it's like all its representative knowledge of those things are from like images, from photographs. In other words, let's say the entire training is that, and then it has the ability to add style. Perhaps it could be that like this massive, like how would you do style? Like in AI terms, a computer scientist could be like, well, apply blur, apply, you know, uh, color contrast. You can look at it from like an entirely different angle and train an AI to be its own original type of artist. And then all of a sudden that's style, right? So what's the difference between the actual engine that's doing it and like the whole process of train and then morph? Just iterate over, thousands of times to like alter the picture
But that's not what it's doing,
evolutionarily.
though. I mean, that might be okay. I don't know, but that's not what it's doing.
It actually kind of is, though. What's
Mm,
happening is it knows what a person is, it knows what the objects are, it knows what the things are, and then what it's doing to like the prompt designed give me an image of X, and then people say in the style of this artist. What it does is it knows what the objects are as implicit separate entities, and then it
Okay.
applies it to the thing, connects the meaning of the prompt together, and then applies like a style change on the whole thing. If you just took out the style and changed it to another style, you'd have the same image to the morphed into the different thing that you recognize as, you know, Van Gogh versus some modern time thing versus photorealism. So the
O-
problem becomes the artist, it's not about your fucking pictures that or paintings that it's trained off of. I mean, yes, that exists. I'm not denying that that's not happening. But what I'm saying is, if you break apart what you actually bring value to, some Joe Blow that does a picture of a butterfly brings what value? Well, it's his creative method of doing it in a particular scenery and calling it a name and saying like, "Look, here's how well I did a butterfly." But it's like butterflies exist. You didn't pay the butterflies for the fucking reference. So
okay,
so I'm
that's a bit of a stretch,
separating
but
concepts of everything, right? It's you paid for this guy's expression on paper. Like we pay for someone to uh, flow art, train their hand to just like go straight from brain to paper and have this like really cool, awesome, wow, you're the way you express butterfly on the wind is so
hold on,
amazing to me.
but the machine doesn't know what a butterfly is. How does it know what a butterfly is?
It
All of these, you're right, these are all different points of reference that it has. But if for it to learn what a butterfly is, it can look at a
well, we
photograph
can
that
answer that
someone,
if
hang on,
you
it can look
understand
at a
how they
photograph that
train.
someone
Yeah,
else took. It can look at a picture of a butterfly that someone else drew. It can look at 1,000 illustrations of butterflies that somebody has drawn and created from scratch, and it develops an understanding of
yeah,
what a butterfly is in certain styles. But that still comes from somewhere. The machine doesn't all of
yeah.
a sudden, all out of thin air, go, "Oh, I know what a butterfly is."
No, don't
So that
interrupt.
comes that always comes from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, no. So what's happening is the way they train is they went out onto the internet, and the internet has these artists' paintings in there, somewhere, right? It exists in the webs. So the
Okay.
AI got to train it because it existed, and essentially, I can get this image without paying for it. It's like their paintings are posted in a medium where people don't actually have to pay for it to see the preview. They watermark it, they put the
Right.
signature, they do all that shit to like say you can buy your very own version of this. Like right now if I'm visiting some artist's website, they're showing me pictures of their art that I could choose to
Right.
buy, and then I get a better quality one like on a canvas or something, or
Okay.
whatever way I want.
Right.
And I'm not even going
Right.
into NFTs. So all I'm saying is the
But well, hold on.
AI
But
understands the
there's an
style from like that
wait.
representative icon or
Hang
logo
on.
or picture.
You're missing a very important piece there. When you buy a piece of someone's art, you buy it to have it, to hang it on your wall, to whatever. You don't buy the right to that painting. You can't go then make prints of that painting and then sell it and make money. You can't take elements from that painting, or, do,
That's a
like
good point.
remake it and then make a profit of it. You're not buying the rights to that painting. You're
No,
buying the
hold
rights
on.
to that
No.
print to have.
So what I would say to that is that's incorrect, because if let's say I buy a copy of and paint an entire wall and do the study stuff where I intellectualize it, I practice, 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 and eventually I go, I'm a cover artist for I love doing Van Gogh. I mean, we have ancient artists that are so famous that they are styles that are trained in academia. So our
Those are
new
public
artists
domain.
go to college
Those are
and learn how to
public.
paint whatever.
Hold on, those are public domain artists. What I'm saying is, let's say you take an illustrator, like let's say just take a comic book artist that will, like, do you know who Todd McFarlane is, for example? The guy who
Yeah,
draws Spawn,
Yeah, Spawn.
yeah.
right? Okay, you can't copy like a a comic panel, or let's say comic book cover that Todd McFarlane drew of Spawn to look like in his style and then sell it. You cannot do that.
Uh,
That shit is protected. You can't
Hold
just
on.
make.
If you had like a Spawn character that was like, organic humanoid monstery type of thing, and you instead of
Okay.
gave it spider eyes, you gave it like fish eyes or some kind of bulb, like you changed the shape just because you did black with like weird amorphous body doesn't mean you stole it from that guy.
Oh, that depends. That's actually up to the courts. There's constantly lawsuits about that. People will always argue about whether something has been modified enough to be considered a new creation or not.
I do agree with that. But
Okay.
like so that's when somebody tries to monetize off of it. But like I realize what you're saying. Don't use the Van Gogh example, public domain stuff. Fine. So it's like the
By the way, I
the
don't know if Van Gogh is public domain. I mean, I
well,
think he is, but I'm not
there could be
sure.
an estate. Who
I'm not
knows?
sure.
Like it
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
follow the family forever. Agreed.
Right.
But people go to academia, go to college, study art. And I guess you're telling me that's all public domain, so that's not a valid argument. You know what? I can even like move past that one. I don't know. The thing I'm trying to emphasize without getting into these weeds is not about like it's never about artists shouldn't be paid, but like someone's got to think through this shit. Artists can't just say, "Well, fuck you, I don't want to participate." Well, don't sell
Oh,
your
true.
art.
No.
Go live in your own vacuum and like have your own paintings and like
Well,
have
I,
exclusive people come by and say, "Do you like it? Buy it."
okay. I agree with some of that. I do think that they can't keep fighting it. They do have to figure out how to turn this around and make it a useful tool for themselves. The artists that are just running around saying, "Oh, fuck AI," and I'm not participating. I'm not doing this. If you like AI, you can go fuck off. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's not going to work. Unfortunately for them, like this is a battle they're going to lose. Like there's absolutely no denying it. So they have. So yes, artists have to figure out how to make this work for themselves, and they really haven't yet. But the ones that do figure that out are the ones that I think are going to excel and move forward, and the ones that are just going to keep fighting it, I think, yeah, unfortunately, are going to fall to the wayside. Which, again, it's unfortunate. It sucks. I mean, there's people who are in art school right now um, who are
Dude,
haven't even started their careers in that.
But
motherfucker.
but keep in
Yeah,
mind,
no,
none of the
it's terrifying. Same thing for people whose jobs are going to be affected by things like Chat GPT. They're like literally about to graduate from college going, "Oh my God, I just spent years and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars learning a skill that is obsolete.
obsolete.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, what
pivot.
do I
They
do?"
have to pivot, right
Yeah.
at the end. They can't even pay back their
Yeah.
thing. And by the
Yeah.
way, my whole devil's advocate thing, which I know can like rub in a bad way, if somebody used an AI and said in the style of this guy who has copyright and then tries to sell like new style match versions of different pictures like let's
Yeah.
say one artist is known for their frogs or whatever, and it's like I go and do cats but like say in the style of this guy's frogs, like
Right.
my I guess what I'm getting at is once I try to sell them, that's where it becomes, hey, this guy, whatever tool they use, they're using my style.
Yeah.
That's
If you're
kind of
just
where
doing it
I
for
was
fun,
going
go
with
nuts.
it
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
because it's like um having copies and then learning someone's style so well you start painting your own, but for your own purposes,
Right.
you're not violating any copyright. I mean, maybe you are, but like if you're not making money off of it, there's no damages, right? So the whole problem is the AI
Mm.
is training off the internet where some of this copyrighted material didn't have like the paywall to prevent the AI from
Well,
taking
yeah,
it.
because the artists used platforms like Twitter, Instagram to plaster their art everywhere they could have to promote themselves. But that's the problem. It backfired. I mean, think of it also this way. They put their art online. They were told, "Hey, you know what? There's this wonderful tool. Actually, there's a lot of wonderful tools.
Yeah,
There's social media. There's all these marketplaces where if you put your work there, guess what'll happen? People will see it, and
and
better yet,
buy
people
more.
will buy it. Right,
And
and
the
you can
laws
make
still
you can make a
protect
living.
copyright.
Right. And then all of a sudden somebody says, "Aha, gotcha." Because you put all your artwork out there and because you promote yourself and
Yeah,
you laid it all out for the world to see, we can
I
now
agree.
take that information and profit from you without you ever earning a penny. That is That's bullshit. That hurts. I mean, that really, really hurt. Like I can see these artists like that's painful.
The
Especially
problem,
when
yeah,
they did it for years. And keep in mind, some of them are just about to break out or just started breaking out, and this happens, and it's gut
that's why
wrenching.
that's why I was bringing up the AI should pay for the training. In other words, if some artist has a thing, has like a web presence, there needs to be, like, I would say, address it by like you pay to learn because an AI is using it, and artists can decide what they want. Maybe training usage is like freaking $10,000 or some crazy thing, and a corporation could pay like a huge amount of money for this training lesson
What happens
off
when
of
an artist
somebody's
does?
art.
Right, but then an artist doesn't agree, and an artist says, "No, I don't want my style. I
No,
don't want
I
my
agree.
artwork in
No,
this."
no,
And then they find somebody in a similar style, and then just pay that person, and that original
no. That's
person gets
that's
charged.
that's against the law, is what I'm proposing. I'm
Right.
saying, like, let's say, establish a regulation that says AIs have to pay for um, to study a certain type of art style. So you see where I'm, maybe like my previous commentary is boiling up to this. Like, if you make your name is on the meta of all artwork, like in
Yeah.
some kind of permanent format where it always registers that, let's say blockchain sale or whatever, and you can
Mm.
track it and say like, oh, this person is supposed to get royalty, blah blah blah. Like, the regulation gets put into place that tracks that shit,
Right.
then the AI needs to pay to train, but then also pay to make new art in the style of, because then that's a royalty on the other side. So like that's the kind of situation I would see needing to
It's
happen.
it's possible. It's just right now it's impossible. I'm sorry. I was going to say that might be the solution, but right now it's impossible, and it's going to be a very long time before it gets resolved. Is all I'm saying. And look,
Yeah, I know.
I find some of this relatable. I am a graphic designer. Do you know how
Yeah.
many posts I see every single day on sorry, X, what the fuck it's called now, and Instagram, of people saying, "Oh my God, rip designers! Look at this. I just typed this into Midjourney, and look at I have like 20 logos for my company. Why would I just save myself like literally people are just like so, a bunch of designers quoted me like thousands of dollars to design branding for my company. This took me like 2 minutes and $10 on Midjourney, and look at all this awesome shit that I have. Like, I see that crap all the time, and it's like it. I'm not scared of it yet because first of all, the examples they have are absolutely terrible, but you you can feel that creeping into my field as well. There's websites right now that claim that you just type in a prompt and they'll create an entire website for you, for example, in
Hmm.
like a few seconds.
There's
So,
definitely people who are like all in, and they're like, you know, it, listing the mods that they add to it, so it can, like, you can give it a reference document, and you could do this and you could do that, and then you can like, I've seen all kinds of lists of jobs that are going to get replaced. What's funny? CEO is one of them. And of
well,
course, like,
Jesus.
that'll never
I
happen, but
mean,
like, can you
if you
imagine
can
a board
replace,
saying, hey, run this, let's have like a think tank that run, and we let the AI guide, but like with human, whatever.
I mean,
But
CEOs can
I
be
shit you
replaced
not,
by a
business,
by a
yeah.
rock with a
Well,
piece of string tied around it. So that's not
mar-
really that hard.
I know, but like marketing plans, um, business plans, and like if you prompt it intelligently with like update and update, you use it to your benefit because it has all that knowledge of the field. It has like academic knowledge behind each concept you're trying to get, and it's
But
way more than we would ever be able to collect. I mean, you'd have to
I,
be very
I,
well educated.
I almost don't want to say anything because we've been on this one subject for like 45 minutes. But the one thing it's not is creative.
Right.
It's
Correct.
just finding,
Yes, very well said.
literally
Yep,
what it's saying
yep.
is, okay, this was the previous word. What is the probability of the next word going to be? So it's reading everything and just regurgitating it in some way, shape, or form. And it might be a form that you
Yep,
hadn't
yep.
thought of before or anything else, but it's
Mhm.
only going off of the like 1 billion parameter array that it already has. It's not being creative.
Right.
It's
Gold star for Jerry. Very, very well said. Yes, absolutely. There you go. He summarized. Anyway, now that we've covered the first minute and a half of Invasion and why it's terrible, let me tell you where the rest of it sucks. But yeah, it's just bad. Kevin, just skip it. Of all the amazing shows you have to watch, just skip Invasion. You know what? I'll make this simple for you. Nothing happens. Literally nothing happens. Do you want to know what the big spoiler through the whole show is? The one thing you find out? Would you like me to just spoil it for you right now? It'll make it so much simpler.
just
I mean, okay, fine.
because I don't even know what he's talking about.
It did just retcon something. It's really quick. Can I tell you what the big thing is in the show? The big reveal?
Oh my god, if
It's
you
not-
rickroll, I'm gonna fucking get pissed.
No, I'm not rickrolling at all. So I'm asking your permission. If I wanted to rickroll, I would just fucking do it.
No, you know, to drag it along as possible in order to sneak that in would have been hilarious, actually. But
No, this is one of those few times I'm not being a fucking asshole. Would you like to know
No.
what
yeah,
the
give
big
it.
reveal is? Okay, Rhodey, War Machine, it was a
Yeah.
scroll from the point that he basically after Civil War, he's been a scroll. And that's it. That's like the big thing. Oh, and Maria Hill dies.
Do we know when that's when it was?
Oh,
Because they were like,
Yeah.
how long have you been here? And then they went
It's-
away.
I forget why, but yes, it's actually revealed. Yes, it was basically after when you supposedly see him recovering, like when he's walking after his injury in Civil War, that's already a scroll. And if you watch the movies, that actually makes no fucking sense
Why?
because there's a bunch of things that he does in the next few movies that don't make any fucking sense. Like they just don't add up. His reactions to things don't make sense. There's somebody pointed out a very obvious plot hole that the whole point of the scrolls why they're doing this is because they were looking for a new home planet. And when he's there, when they find what's his name? Jesus.
Yeah. Thanos.
Yes, Thanos. When they find Thanos on that planet, it's a amazing
Beautiful
garden.
planet.
Yeah, beautiful
Yeah.
planet. That's a good point. If he was already a scroll, the moment he would have seen that planet, he would have been like, "Oh, cool, found one. Okay, we're done." Like that would have been fine. There would have been no need for any sort of secret
Yeah.
invasion or anything like that. There's other things. The way he interacts with Tony Stark. There's some details about their lives they know. There's a bunch of stuff that like just doesn't add up. It's also like it's a weird retcon. It just doesn't make any sense. And the point is, he died. The scroll version of him gets killed in the show, and real Rhodey is back now. And the whole dramatic thing is that he was not around for Endgame, so he doesn't know that like Iron Man is dead, and all that other shit happened. It's so sad. He never.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, okay, because they're like, oh look, all of the humans, like the important humans, we put in this thing and like sucked out read their thoughts and everything. So, but like because Rhodey was a scroll for the last 8 years, real Rhodey was kept in this like stasis chamber, and they like it was the equivalent of
Really?
a
That's the
medically
lamest
induced
part of
coma. Yes.
the whole story.
No,
Yeah.
there's
Yes.
a lot of
Any normal person was just they're like the first person I killed, I took their identity,
Right.
and that's it. But like
Yeah.
these
I'm slightly
people
more
are-
interested in watching because of all this conversation.
Oh my god. Okay. Also, like I said, Maria Hill gets killed in a very uninteresting fashion. After surviving world-ending events and basically fighting like demigods and just apocalyptic scenarios, she didn't see some weird guy basically pull a gun and shoot her. There's other things. Again, like they completely ruined the Nick Fury character. There's a weird thing where he's married to a scroll. That whole part was really weird.
Yeah, because that was never ever mentioned
Yeah,
in
that
any
was
way, shape, or form.
yeah, that was really random and weird.
And not in the I'm gonna go home to my wife kind of thing, because sure, yeah, I get it. Nick Fury wouldn't let that on, but like it just in none of the movies or anything, you never saw a scene where he was like looking at her picture or something like that. you
Yeah,
know?
she was just completely like wedged in there. Also, the Scrolls' plan was really dumb. It's that really cliche thing where their whole way to exterminate humanity was basically to be like, okay, here's what we do: we set off a bomb in Russia, and then we say the Americans did it, so that means Russia will definitely go to war with America. Like this is totally going to work. There's a foolproof. There's no way it could fail. Oh, it failed. Oh shit. Okay, well, I guess that's it. We're done. Like that
And
was
not,
their whole master plan. Like that's it.
not only that, but the whole thing is like, oh, scrolls are immune to radiation, so they're holed up in an old nuclear facility, and yet we've had these like a bunch of humans on ice for however many years, and somehow they're not just like, Rhodey's not a giant ball of tumors.
Yeah,
Like,
when
what
they
the
let
fuck?
them out at the end, they're just completely like,
Yeah,
oh
they're
yeah,
like, oh, this will
we're
all
fine. We're fine. Oh yeah. Oh, and Amelia Clark's in it. So
and
that's
then
cool.
like the
She's
the end
she's
result of like, now I have like every power from everyone.
Oh God, yeah, that was stupid. Basically, they have the DNA of all the Avengers. So Amelia Clark like drinks some kind of thing, or like, she gets zapped with something. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Something happens to her, and now she has the powers of like all the Avengers, and that's it. Yeah.
Really?
And again, like that, yes, that like their like, oh wow, their idea worked, but like, what the fuck? How did you expect to be in the same spot at that one particular time when Gravik was like, let's infuse the Super Scroll DNA kind of thing? Like, it was just like
Yeah,
a little bit too forced.
the villain was very weak. Everything was just, and again, it's supposed to be. They build it as like some spy thriller. It's not a spy thriller. There's no spying or thrilling of any kind. It's literally
Did they
Nick
have
Fury just
the
folding around
thing where
like an old man, and he's just like, just
Credit
accidentally falling into things.
credit where credit is due. I think Gravik was weak, but I thought the actor was pretty good. Like, there were some times when I'm like, oh, I believe that he's pretty fucking angry at his situation.
Really, I
I did.
don't.
But let me
I
ask
didn't
you
feel me
this.
on that one.
Okay,
It,
maybe he's better than others.
I mean, he's not a
In
bad actor. I just thought the character overall was like I thought he was overly dramatic, and if anything, I found him more comical than anything. He was like an over the top villain. He's like the Gary Oldman version of when he yells everyone, like that's the villain in Secret Invasion.
yeah, okay, a little bit of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll agree to that.
I
did
don't know,
they
it's
touch
whatever.
on like humans becoming mutants?
No.
No, no, they really
Because that was a
didn't.
very Agents of Shield kind of thing. But
Yeah, no, they
again,
didn't get
that's not
into no.
canon.
No, they didn't get into it. It ends very sort of not abruptly, but kind of like with a resounding meh.
Hmm.
Like they just sort of stopped this invasion that's not really an
Isn't
invasion
Loki
that was
2
never
around
going
the
to
corner?
work
I
out.
think that'll be much
October,
better than this one.
October, I think. I
Hmm.
think October. Yeah, Loki 2
So
should be good, hopefully.
speaking of Loki too, like, and like the rest of phase 5 of the MCU, what's going on with Jonathan Majors?
Supposedly we find out in Loki. So he's in the trailers, so he's definitely going to be a thing. But whether or not he's going to be replaced during the show, we're going to find out. Loki, I don't think he's going to be replaced. I don't see how that's going to work. I mean, it's
See, I mean, I think
possible.
that's super easy. It could be barely an inconvenience. He could be like, oh, like I have another, there's another variant of me that looks different. Because Sylvie is a variant of Loki, and they
It's
look
possible.
different.
Somebody
What happened?
suggested that's what's her name? What was the character in the original Loki show who ran the agency and then she turned out to be bad? What was her name?
Oh,
The
did the Renslayer or whatever,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, her.
character
Yeah,
that
the woman who.
changed? She changed from episode 1 to.
What? No, I'm saying they're saying that she might take over that role. Um, she might take over the John Majors role. Like they might, like the way Loki has a
Oh, they're
female
supposed to be
variant.
boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh,
What? Hey, real quick,
Yeah.
in the Twitch stream. Oh, what the fuck? That was crazy. That I like
Mhm.
our images, the video shut off. At least our Discord images shut off in the video, And right when I said, "Hey, what's going
Oh,
on with that?" they
I know
showed
it is.
back up to like make me a liar.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm
so
sorry.
somehow Renslayer's going to be
That's just a theory.
Kang.
That's a theory. It
Okay,
Yeah, they're saying if they do replace him, she might be the replacement basically.
gotcha.
I don't know. I don't
It's all
know. I'm just
speculation.
waiting to see. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The important thing is before Loki 2 comes out, we're gonna have the second season of Groot, so that's great.
I didn't watch the first
I
one. I skipped that.
I
And
never no did not watch that either.
yeah,
Nor do I ever plan on watching it. Nor should I don't think anybody should plan to watch it, but
right.
whatever.
You know, I thought Guardians 3 was a huge disappointment.
I completely agree. I think I messaged you after that, like when you were watching it, and I was just like, yeah, that was one of the biggest drop offs I think I've ever seen in a movie series, except maybe for the ninth Fast and the Furious movie. That was also very disappointing. But I mean, this was up there with Fast Nine in terms of drop off.
Yeah, I really feel like it was made by like two different people because it was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, we want you to feel so bad for all these little guys and this and that, and I was like, oh my god, I want to cry. And then like, fucking Drax is like joop 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 joop, and I'm like, okay, this is just fucking stupid. Like, what the hell is going on here?
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
it was just,
It didn't help that it ended with a dance number with Drax doing a dance number at the end. That didn't do it for you. That didn't fix the
oh, I
situation.
think I blocked it out. I mean, it
Yeah,
was just
that was
Oh, he
like
left
embarrassing. Like
before
that.
finishing it.
Yeah,
He
it's
fell
just
asleep.
that
no,
was
it
I
was all bad. I
I
did not.
yeah.
I was not so lucky to fall asleep before
I
the
would
end.
I
Mm.
would say it was a B-rated Marvel. Okay, so what I said is after it is that the first two were just amazing movies in their own right, whatever comic book or not. This was just
Yeah,
an okay Marvel movie. Like it was all right. It had a couple moments, but
Hey,
it
there are
didn't
worse
have.
movies,
Yes, there
worse
are. I'm not.
Marvel
yes,
movies than that one.
Yes,
yeah.
right. That's why I said it was just an
You
okay
said a
Marvel
B,
movie.
not an
Yeah,
F.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Totally, I agree.
But yeah, it had none of the charm of the first two. It didn't have any of the humor. Even it didn't even have the good
Even the
music. What the heck?
soundtrack, yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
soundtrack wasn't
yeah. My
that
wife and I,
great either.
yeah,
I was like, there's no like the first one. I like listen to these songs
yeah. It
now.
was
I put
like
them on
iconic.
for
It was iconic stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And at the end, I was like, oh, they put on that one Beastie Boys song during a fight scene. That's like the most like overdone thing ever. Like it's like the one decent song he found, and it was used in the most like lazy way he could have possibly thought of.
yeah,
Yeah, the action sequences were really kind of boring, whereas they were very creative and really like visually, I thought, like enticing in the first two. This was just like, what if we made them slow motion? Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's slow motion. Um, I I felt absolutely no emotional connection to anything, and it was also really weirdly done, where it's like, here, feel bad for these three CGI, little animals living in a cage, but totally gloss over the fact that they just destroyed an entire planet full of children
right,
and families
yeah,
and other animals that we're just gonna sort of just be like, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's already bad. We already established he's bad, so we don't need to mention the fact that he just committed mass fucking genocide on a planetary level. That's not important. Or the fact that Rocket
He's
goes through
like
this whole
worse than
thing.
Thanos.
Well, I mean,
Thanos only
sort
did
of.
half.
Yeah, exactly. But there's also the fact that like they make this whole thing about like cruelty to animals, and they
Mm.
go through this whole thing to save animals, and Rocket tells them they have to save this like whole like little mini zoo collection of
hmm,
animals, and then 2 minutes later they're on a planet and they're about to exterminate like an entire species of animals because they're attacking these villagers, and Rocket's like leading the way, like, yeah, let's go shoot them. Like, what the fuck? That
yeah. I don't
like from moment to moment, that movie makes no sense. The fact that Star Lord, whose iconic, get up and everything, is this cool
masks.
space suit that comes
Yeah,
out all around him to protect him in
hmm,
space, somehow just doesn't exist in this movie, and
yeah.
he almost dies in space. It's
Didn't he
like,
give it to
yeah, it's like the
somebody?
guy. No, he didn't. It's like the guy in pitch
That's the
meeting
guy.
said. He was just like, I guess he won't bring his spacesuit to go on this space adventure. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, what the fuck?
Not only that, but like with the what was it, the first movie when he's out with Gamora in space
Yeah, it's
without
how he.
his mask on, he's out there for like 5 minutes, which that whole thing, I mean, like honest, like scientifically speaking, that was so much more realistic than like his like I'm gonna jump along this like big gap and my face is going to blow up and like all this other
Yeah,
stupid shit.
yeah, it was, yeah. I think it was James Gunn basically just saying, all right, let me just put something together and get the fuck out of here. That's how I felt. I knew I had a
DC
really.
paid me lots of money to
It's like
fuck
he
up your
wanted to
Marvel
do,
movie.
yeah, it's like he wanted to do the visual effects of someone freezing in space. It's like
But he's done
because it
that
was
already.
done already.
But
Let's
that's
do
the
it
thing. He's
again. That was
already.
so cool.
He's Yeah, he's literally done that same scene, and it was better. Oh, the
Yeah.
fact that the other thing was what's his name? God, I'm forgetting the names of all the characters. Who's the guy who controls the whistles with the arrow flying around? The new one.
I don't
Actually, what's
know.
the name of the?
I don't know his
It's
You
name.
know, the guy with the fin
oh
on his
yeah,
head.
yeah,
What's his name?
Yeah, but it was the
Ca-
second guy, not the first guy.
yes, no,
What was the name
that's
of the
what he
first guy?
said.
No, well, I
The
needed
first
both.
guy was Yandu.
Yandu.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, yeah, he can't control the arrow, and he's struggling, and then all of a sudden he sees Yandu, and Yandu goes, "Use your heart."
Yeah,
Really?
that's like
That was so bad.
super stupid movie trope.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
wait
terrible.
a second. No, believe in yourself and like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, now I can lift up this building.
yeah, the dog that could make control rocks with her mind, but then also can control planets with her mind. It's just every minute of that movie was just like, all right, I just want this to end. I had a bad feeling it was going to be not great when I saw the Christmas special, which was horrendous. I don't know if you did you
Oh,
watch
I
that?
didn't watch that.
Oh,
It's on Disney
the
Plus.
Christmas special was amazing. Kevin Bacon was in that.
Oh my God, that was
Fucking
unwatchable.
Kevin
That was
Bacon.
so. That was so. This is from someone who loves Kevin Bacon, and I really like Drax and Mantis, but dude, that was like cringy bad. Oh, just thinking about it. So I remember we watched it, and my wife and I were talking about it, and we both said like, "Oh no, I hope this isn't like indicative of what James Gunn is going to be doing with the third movie," and it kind of was. He's just sort
Yeah.
of like, "Yeah, can we just finish this so I can go? I can go cancel Black Adam and kick The Rock out of
Yeah.
out of out of WB." So yeah, not great, not great. I feel like
Hey, maybe we'll have better luck with AI and they'll make better movies.
did you see the movie that AI made about aliens coming to Earth? Someone actually made this. Did you see this? It was
No.
it
Well,
was
you mean like a
it's
YouTube short
actually
or a full length?
I'll try to find it on YouTube and maybe put it in the show notes later. Yeah, someone made it's like a 5 minute video of somebody like made because there are engines that can generate entire videos now. They
Oh yeah.
made a like a 5 minute video of what would happen if aliens came to Earth, and it it is actually like really good. Like it's pretty.
Like
I can't explain.
in what way? Like, because
It's
I
terrible. It's I can't explain it. It looks like so the whole thing looks basically like it's a collection of news footage, right? So it looks like it has like interviews with like Joe Biden and like Putin and like other reporters and people in the street. It has a little bit of you know what it reminds me of a little bit? District 9. Remember that movie?
yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has a little bit of that
I
feel.
kind of want
So
to watch that again
but
now.
the point is this thing generated this everything about the movie, the visuals, the
Is
sounds,
it
the
called The
music,
Frost?
oh fuck, I don't know. Um I'll have to look it up later. I don't want
Yeah,
to
sure.
Google it,
No. Yeah, I
but
didn't know if that would
but
ring a bell or not.
basically the premise of it is it's actually a cool premise. It just means like there's these ships appear above Earth and nobody knows who they are, and different countries try to make contact with them. But of course, like America thinks that they should lead the charge, and then when they find out that Russia is trying to communicate with them, they basically try to stop Russians from trying to make like first contact, and all this leads to like this huge conflict, and they basically like start a war among themselves, just trying to talk to these aliens, and the aliens are basically like, oh, the aliens are basically
Go
like,
fuck yourself.
yeah, they're basically like, we really just came to give you like advanced tech and stuff like that, but you guys are really just not worth it, and we see now you're basically just going to destroy yourselves, so we're leaving by, and then it ends with humanity destroying itself. Like we never even talked to them. Like they just
Okay,
basically
that actually sounds like probably the most accurate
right. That's what I'm saying.
alien quote invasion movie that I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's really good. It's and like the way the tone of this little short movie is fantastic. Let's all right. Why don't
I,
you
I,
let's see
wa-
if I can find.
I want to see that now because, like, if you think about like this whole what's been going on, you know, the Pentagon or the government has like alien wreckage and bodies uh, in you know, somewhere.
Oh, I found it.
And
Sorry, it
oh,
took me
go
like two
on.
seconds. No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. I just want to say that I found it. It took me 2 seconds.
Like, if that was true, and like I personally, do I believe there's extraterrestrial life out there? Sure, somewhere. I think just like running the Fermi equation, there has to be something out there. It wouldn't surprise me in a bit. Um, but like, you know, do I think that they're just gonna like jump in their UFO and like their ship and come here for like a Sunday jaunt? No, I mean drones, sure, maybe like you know, but I don't think like Zargon and Workbark are gonna get in their suits and their you know ship and like be like, oh, let's look at what's on this planet.
Well,
It
you're
doesn't
making jokes
make
though. You
sense.
don't think there's a reason why some kind of extraterrestrial would come to Earth?
Why would they? I mean, I don't really think so. I think you know they'd be like probe, you know, like that kind of thing. I mean, if you think about it,
Imagine us being able to like go to other stars, right? And then start to check like exoplanets. If we found a civilization that had like our level of technology, you think we would have our remote out of nowhere ship like not pay attention to this to life like out of all, you know what I mean, like the way we are, there's at least one example, meaning humanity, that's curious about aliens, and some at some point you could foresee us like getting better and better at spaceships and human travel, blah blah, or even drones, right? So like it's perfectly based on our own sort of example and sort of obvious logic, let's say, that to think it's not a
but
far stretch to imagine that they would try to learn about us.
sure, but okay. If now, so look at it this way: look at our technology now and our capabilities of interstellar travel. Now, compare that with the technology that a race would that had interstellar travel, probably faster than light, if they're coming here, you know, to observe us. Because if they had radio signals, we would have found that in a relatively close, meaning like what, 100, 200 light year bubble. Um, but so if they have that technology, do you not think that they could like create drones the size of a mosquito to like sample our DNA? The you know fucking cockroaches could be watching us or what, you know, they could totally like put drones out like
But
that
keep your head
to
in normal
watch it.
physics, though, right? Like even like
I am like 100%.
interstellar mosquitoes. Or do you
No,
mean like a
No,
pod that would
no,
loose them
no,
on the planet?
they
in
launch a
any
probe to
in
our
any
planet.
in any configuration you can think of. Yeah, the probe is like the simplest like things that we can
Yeah,
wrap our minds around, but we don't know they could come up with things we can't even begin to imagine,
right.
basically, to get that stuff here.
But you're talking like they'd release the cockroaches so that they could spot. Like you're saying they could be more inventive, right? But I would.
They, they
What?
might be invisible walking among us. I don't
Right.
know.
No. Okay.
Yeah, no,
You could be one of them, Kevin.
it doesn't
I
make
don't, he's not
sense.
denying it. He's not
Yeah,
denying it.
exactly.
Kevin went
We,
quiet all of a
we don't
sudden.
want him to eat our brain. Stop it.
No.
What
What
sort
I'm
of
saying
norm
is,
what
if
sort of
they're
normal
here,
person
why
has
wouldn't they
four
hide?
Groots
You're
in his
making it
room?
too complicated.
Right. Why would they hide? And they're not here.
No.
So,
Why
like,
wouldn't they hide?
what?
You're a massive presumption that totally colors your entire opinion that they why would any race or like life form that has interstellar flight, why would they bother because it's so amazing? But at the same